Okay everyone, today I'm getting everything together that I will need to make a glass Christmas tree. I have been running around to all my local thrift stores trying to find the pieces that I might need to do this craft. And I hope I have enough pieces now. So what I managed to find were these 4 pieces at the thrift store that I normally go to. And I picked up 4 pieces there. Now white tags, the prices are the same, are normal, no discounts. This one, a blue tag, is 50% off. Yellow tags are 25% off. And then on top of that, I get a 25% discount for a senior's discount. Then at another little thrift store I went to, I picked up 5 pieces. They're smaller in size, most of them. Their glass is regularly $1 per piece. Unless it's a specialty piece, say it's a piece of glass from Italy or something, but these are all just regular glass. And then on that day that I went, everything was 50% off. So I got all these pieces for 50 cents each. And then this last one is just a vase that I had here at home. So there is no price tag on that one. Now what I plan to do is, this is going to be the base. Whether I use it that way or this way, I haven't decided yet. But my pieces will gradually get smaller to the top. And I was going to make some kind of a spire or a star or something on top. Originally, when I found this piece, I thought, okay, I could maybe put this on top. It's an angel, and it's from our dollar store. But the only problem I have with it is it's plastic and the rest of it is glass, and that just, it didn't sit very well with me. But then at the last store that I went to, I found this little one. It's just a top to some kind of a candy dish or a sugar bowl, but it was by itself. So I thought, well, that would work. So we'll see how it goes as I put it together. I plan to use E6000 glue, which is pretty strong, and hot glue to hold it in place until the E6000 dries. First though, I have to wash all these pieces in soapy water and dry them, and then I'm going to wipe them all down with rubbing alcohol, just to make sure there's no grease or anything left on them that would not allow the glue to take. Also, I want to mention a friend of mine, a fellow YouTuber named Becky, who has a YouTube channel called My Little Vintage Home, is also making one of these trees, and we agreed that we would link each other's videos in our comment section. So when I'm finished, I will send mine off to Becky. She'll send me hers, and then you'll be able to find hers as well in my comment section, and you can go and watch her video as well. So let me get these all cleaned up and dried, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm back. I have washed and dried and cleaned all the glass pieces, and I think you can tell because they all sparkle a little more now. The next step was to try to dry fit everything and make sure I had enough pieces. And this was a little bit tricky because I couldn't stack more than 1 or 2 pieces, or sorry, more than 2 or 3 pieces together. They would slip and slide off of each other, so there was no way I could dry fit all the pieces to see if it would work. So fingers crossed. I hope I have enough pieces here, and I hope they work out the way I want them to. Now the first decision was to decide if this bottom piece was going to face this way or this way. And I decided to go with this way because this is the next piece of glass, And I liked the separation between the two. Now you can't really see this. Hold on, I'm going to get something darker to put these on. Okay, so now I hope they show up a little bit better. But you can see what I mean by I like the space between the two. When I had it the other way, they were tight, one on top of the other. And I didn't get that space. And I didn't like it as much, and plus they just didn't sit quite right. So I'm going to go with my first decision and do it this way. So this will be the next piece that goes on top. Now this glass is very smooth and very slippery. And the piece I want to put on next really slips and slides around on it. So what I'm going to have to do is place it where I think it should go, and maybe put little dots with a marker so that when I put my glue on it, I can set it on there and be accurate without having it to move around on me. And I'm going to use the hot glue so that it holds it in place. Then I will let these three pieces dry really well, and I will start working on the next pieces. And those pieces, I believe, will be like this, and like this. And I'll just keep working my way up, and I will glue, there, that's the way. I will glue as many as I can that will safely sit together into a next section. And then in the end, I will put the sections together, and I might need help with that, someone to come and help steady it for me. We'll see how it goes. Now, I was a little shocked when I was shopping for these pieces. I thought it would be really easy peasy finding the pieces of glass that I needed. I mean, you see clear glass all the time in the thrift stores. But when I went to pick them up and I was dry fitting some in the store, I realized not too many pieces have slope sides to them, which gives a nicer effect. It looks more like a tree. A lot of the glass pieces I looked at had more of a straight side, and they don't stack as well together. So I ended up looking for bowls, but ideally what I would have liked is a space between each of the sections. But in order to have that, I would have needed pieces like this that had a tall base to them. And I just couldn't find enough pieces like that. These two are okay, so I do get a separation between the two sections. But after that, all I could find were bowls. And so my next pieces fit rather closely together. But we're going to make it work. We'll see how it turns out, and fingers crossed. So this time I did not use expensive glass. I thought for my very first one, I'm not going to ruin any good crystal or anything by trying it out. But if I get this to work and it works and looks good, then I may go back and buy a few more expensive pieces and try making a crystal tree, because I think it would really sparkle nice. And I might even play around with putting some lights inside of it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've moved on to the next step. I've started gluing some of the pieces together. I'm down in my craft room, so ignore the mess. So I started with the base, and I glued these two together and then this one on top. Now nothing is set permanently yet. It needs about 24 hours, but I just wanted to show you some of the steps that I'm doing to make this crystal tree or glass tree. So then the next step is I glued these two together, and then on top of that I need to find something smaller and about the size of a shot glass. I did try a couple of these little preserve jars to see if they'd be okay, but they are just a touch too wide or a touch too big. This one is close to the right size. It's just a little bit too tall when I measured it inside this section, which is the next section to go on top of this one. So I'm going to have a look around and see what I have while these are drying, and we'll move on from there. This one, I had to put a little piece on the bottom, so what I used was these old glass sealer jar tops. I just glued one of them on. I needed just a tiny bit more height between it and this section. And I think I mentioned earlier, but just to show you again, I am using E6000 glue. That's this one. It's the one that takes 24 hours to set. And then I'm just using my hot glue gun to tack it in place to hold it until this glue dries on all the pieces. So that's it for now. I will come back and continue on. I think I mentioned this piece too, or maybe not. I glued these three sections together as well. They will be the top of the tree. Now, I also said that I wasn't sure if I was going to use the angel or this top, and I did prefer the glass top as opposed to the plastic angel. But another thing I did consider, this one lights up, but I was trying to think of a way that I could put it on top of a tree eventually where I could still light it. And I think what I would do is, I have some really strong craft magnets, and I'm going to test it maybe on the next tree. But I would glue 2 magnets here and then 2 magnets inside the last piece of glass that it will be sitting on. And then I'm hoping that will hold the angel on top of the tree, but then when you need to change the batteries or turn it on, you should be able to remove it. But that's a process for another day and another tree. So I will come back and continue on once I find the next couple of little pieces to glue on. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I think between this one and this one, I need a taller piece of something to fit up there. These are just about a ½ an inch too tall. So I'm going to have to find a piece for there and a piece for here. So I will come back and continue on once these are set and once I have found the next pieces to the tree. Okay, so for the next stage, I have let all these pieces dry really well, but I just put this piece on here, this glass jar. It is going to sit inside this one. That will be the next step. And on top of this one, I glued just now this little piece here. It's an old salt cellar, and it was really chipped up around the edge and everything, so it doesn't bother me to use a vintage piece like that. And that's going to hold this section in place. So I will glue it next, and then we'll final stage glue the 2 big pieces together. Okay, here it is in all its finished glory. It's all glued together. The last couple of pieces are just finishing drying. So I'll give you a close-up look of it from the top. All the way down to the stand. Now the finished size, is about 16 inches. This is a 12-inch ruler. So it's about 16 inches altogether, and that's not a bad size. It's not tippy or anything. It's very sturdy. So I think it's going to look really nice on my mantle. Altogether, we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces, not including anything that I used for an insert to hold up the different sections. So that's not too bad. It did take me a while to find them all, but it was well worth it. So once again, I want you to please go check out Becky's channel. She's also making one of these crystal trees. I will link her channel down in the description box, and her YouTube name is My Little Vintage Home. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this craft and it inspired you to maybe go out and make one of your own. Until the next time, thank you. Bye-bye.